Good afternoon, everybody. This is Agrod. I am your host today of the Splinterlands Town Hall, and it is an absolute pleasure to be here with you. Thanks for chiming in and paying attention and hanging out with us today. It's a small show. This is the show right before the holiday break, so I had plans, maybe even delusions of grandeur of what we would be able to get done today, but instead it seems like we're going to have a pretty tame show. Why don't we, I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Agrod. I'm the CEO. You guys probably know me, my face, my chops, my whatever. You're probably used to that. I have a random guest in my house. It is my son. He's a toddler. And it's possible that he's going to be making noise during this episode. Normally my kids are not in the house at the time that we host these. So this is a rare exception and part of the joys of having young people around. So please forgive the squawks in the back if there are any. Okay, why don't we do a quick team stand-up and kind of introduce all the folks that are going to be here with us today, and then we can kind of go through and talk to the folks. And it's a small crowd today too. I mean, we only have 35, 36 in attendance. So when we're not in our normal Monday routines, it seems like we don't got everybody here either. So I see a Mr. Nate. Nate, who are you? What do you do? And what are we going to be talking about today?
VP of Creative here. I'm going to talk about, we're just going to go with the flow, man. I mean, it's right before Christmas and the holidays. We'll just kind of jump around and I don't know. I'll try to drop something that no one's seen before, just so they have prepare for Christmas morning. We'll give them something early.
Sounds good. I also see a Weirdbeard. Weirdbeard, who are you? What do you do? And what are you going to be talking about today?
Hello, I'm Weirdbeard. I do tournaments in esports, and I'm talking about some of the progress that we're making towards what we're doing in 2023 and a really cool announcement for a new type of tournament.
Nice. We have a Mike. Mike, I don't think that anybody's seen you Livingsoil here. Like, who are you? What do you do? And then what are you talking about today?
Hey, so I'm Mike. I'm a Agile coach and Scrum Master. I've been working on refining the delivery processes and team structures within Splinterlands to make sure that we have fast and efficient delivery. And so I'm going to be talking about some of that and some new enhancements of our process that are coming up down the road.
Awesome. And then lastly, we got John, or you might know him as 16-bit. 16-bit, who are you and what are you going to be talking about today?
Yeah, I'm the VP of Sales here at Splinterlands. Just wanted to make a brief appearance to talk about the holiday bulk deals that we have been running that expire here in 56 minutes. And then also just say a few words about NFTy Arcade, who I believe is also going to be joining us for a bit today.
Yeah, we have two special guests. We have Jarvie from Peakmonsters, and we got Tyler from NFTy Arcade. So I know that we said that we were going to do. I know that we said we're going to go to Jarvie first, and we're going to go to Nifty. But given that there's only an hour left, can we start with John and let John just kind of like have a quick couple of words about the sales package, what that looks like, and what's going to happen? Yeah, so just go for it, John.
Yep, absolutely. All right, cool. So as you all know, we started off around Splinterfest, launching sort of a new type of set of bulk deals that we wanted to do. That sort of turned into a parlay into a public sales policy that we posted on PeakD maybe roughly about a month ago in advance of our second round of deals, which we're launching here for the holidays. And we hope to make that a regular occurrence. The community has come out and shown a lot of support, and we really appreciate that. That's kind of the lifeblood of what we need to do, especially in a bear market. And it really helps to elevate the entire community. The bulk deals themselves, there are 3 independent deals. One is on Chaos Legion, which everybody probably knows is sort of on the back 9 of its availability in advance of kind of shutting that edition down and looking forward to the next edition. But we also have a tower defense bulk deal going that's sort of baked right into that same post with Chaos Legion. And then separate from that, we have a Genesis League Goals deal as well, which is our first game in the Genesis League sports ecosystem. So if you haven't seen those, check them out. I'll certainly be paying attention in Discord DMs here if there's anybody that wants to get in at the last minute. But very excited about those things, and looking forward to sort of completing the motion, so to speak, here as we roll into the holidays.
Rock on. Okay, so thanks for that little update. I mean, if somebody's interested in buying from Splinterlands right now and participating in the bulk deal, like what should they do? How like you have 53 minutes left. What should they do with those 53 minutes?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do with the bulk deals is we really open up the different types of payment options, right? So it becomes a little bit more straightforward crypto or just wire transfer, where we have a couple of different wallet addresses depending on the type of crypto you want to send, or certainly a wire transfer works as well. So that makes the execution pretty easy. But effectively, what you need to do is one of two things. You need to either go check out the bulk buy group buy channel in Discord, or get with one of the different groups that are organizing that, or just reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to sort of usher you through any last minute details and really help you get rolling. As long as we get the process in motion here by the 5 p.m. Eastern time deadline, we should be able to work something out. So definitely reach out if you're interested.
Rock on. All right. Well, thanks for that update, John. It sounded like you needed to be somewhere, so if you need a hop, that's okay. Otherwise, feel free to stick around. I guess let's go hop over to Jarvie. Now, some of you might know that there is a website called Peakmonsters. Peakmonsters is a site where you can do like a ton of activity, buying, selling, renting, and it handles bulk transactions better than what Splinterlands does. They really focus on that marketplace, whereas we're really having to focus on everything almost exclusively of the marketplace. So Jarvie and his team, which is particularly a developer by the name of Asgarth, has been fantastic in adding new tools and features to this ecosystem. And Jarvie, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show. How are things?
Things have been great. Thank you. Yeah, we have been around for 4 years, right? We also do Peak. I'm co-founder of Peak D as well, which a lot of the announcements go out on that. And then another maybe lesser known project called Peak Open Projects, which is actually a collection of quite a few open source features. So
that's cool. What did you want to talk about today?
Yeah, we had a couple of new things for the user base, I suppose. Just want to make sure people know that exist. We have the non-card market has now been opened up for third parties to, or just all different sorts of interfaces, and we've got ours up so people can view their assets, and we kind of total them up for them as well. Almost is becoming kind of like a portfolio page. We'll probably make some additions to that so it becomes more and more like a portfolio page, but you can see what you got there and be able to list stuff and see where the prices are. Also in comparison to Hive Engine, so we'll show the prices on Hive Engine versus the non-card market, where you can use DEC or credits. And credits means you can use pretty much, well, quite a few currencies available from you guys. So you can use credits. And then the ability to, on another one, another page, we have ability to buy stuff, obviously. And I actually tested out today, and maybe it'll go, this one's pending a little turn on switch from your team, but the ability to do bids is now done, and I've been testing that a little bit. But to allow all of the other users to use it, there's just something on your guys' side. So I also wanted to let the users know that bids will be just as soon as it can go out. I don't know if it has to go out in a Tuesday update, which may not be till next year, or it's something easier than that. So yeah, bids will actually help out those non-card assets quite a bit, right? Having both sides of the marketplace help quite a bit.
Okay, so we have non-card market. We have some incoming bid sides of the non-card market.
Yep.
I think you said that there were two features, or is it just that one that you wanted to talk about?
Well, no, yeah, it'll be a quick discussion here. I just want to let people know that the Ask non-card market interface, the portfolio, and the bids should just be just a quick turn on eventually pretty soon. So just keep an eye on that. And then another one is that when me and like it was a phone call it's got to be a couple years ago now with Matt with Yava Matt about talking about how doing a rental market, and we would switch, like Peakmonsters would sunset their version, and that there would be a decentralized protocol created by Splinterlands team that we were talking a lot about how we could help the asset, the card owners to be able to not have to go in and do tons and tons of work and have like a more automated system. And that took us a little bit of time. It was from the very first day we had thought about it, but it took us a little bit of time, and we actually have that, which it's done a little bit differently than maybe some others. It's just kind of a repricer, and it's not us deciding what your card prices should be, but it's using data from the market and letting you choose your own settings. It uses percentiles. So people are familiar with percentiles. So you can choose a percentile, and it just keeps repricing them for you. And you could go in and keep manually managing whatever you want, but it'll just kind of reprice them. So we've actually had that in early access mode for actually a couple of months, and wanted to do a couple more features, and those features are done. So we'll probably turn it on tomorrow for open access to everyone. Or actually, I think our developer is traveling tomorrow, so it may be the next day. But yeah, that will be a nice little feature to help people that don't want to have to manage all that stuff. So
okay. Well, that sounds pretty exciting, Jarvie. It's nice to see new updates and new tools on one of the favorite tools of the Splinterlands ecosystem. So thanks for putting that together. Thanks for being part of our ecosystem as a whole. There are some concerns about you driving. So if you could just share that you're parked right now, it's not better to show your hands. Like, not only am I listening to this, but I'm also doing it without my hands. That doesn't actually solve the problems. If you could just tell everybody that you're static, and there you go.
I'm here parked over there is this part of the Salt Flats in Utah. So I'm just driving to Oregon right now for the holidays. So, yeah. I mean, even if I was driving, these roads are 500 miles without a turn, and barely anyone on the road. So it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah, that's good driving. And that's good mav country right there. You can find a lot of salt necessary for a lot of Mavianteers right there.
Yes,
good,
exactly.
Good to see out there.
And this is a good segue, because I actually live pretty close to Tyler, who's going to be on with you guys, and I'll throw in a few, a little cheerleading for what NFTy Arcade is doing. We're doing some things for the rental market, but it's also really quite awesome and amazing to have people using their features and having like real human players grabbing sets of cars and getting interested in the game. So I'm excited for what they have to share here. And any cards that end up going over there, I see it as a good thing for the rental market, because as more and more bots kind of are dropping out, as what I've seen with the data, that maybe the prices on the rental market go down and people start complaining. But if more and more of those cards go over to new people that are trying out the game, like new players that are like, oh, I don't have to pay a ton for these cards. I can split some of the features, and it's not a big hassle. I just click a button here on NFTy Arcade. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, rock on. Lots of praise to NFTy. All right. Well, Jarvie, I hope you have a safe drive. I hope you have a happy holidays. I appreciate you being part of our ecosystem and having built here and built the business here. Hopefully it's providing you and your family with a nice source of income. And I don't know. Thanks for being part of Splinterlands, and we'll catch you on with the next updates.
Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. All right, so let's bring on Tyler from NFTy Arcade, and let's go. We were just giving some praise to our boys out west. Here's another one. So Tyler, I need you to do this the most enthusiastically you can. And I don't know if you guys know this. If you haven't seen Tyler before, he's a very, very charismatic and enthusiastic man. So I look forward to this. Before you start, can you just tell us who are you? What project are you working on, and what does that project do?
Absolutely, Agrode. I could not be more excited to be on the town hall with all of you. Jarvie, thank you for the accolades. Seriously appreciate it. We are excited about what we're doing here at NFTy Arcade. Agrode, what are we? Who are we? What do we do? At NFTy Arcade, we have built the premier service to borrow and lend cards. So you can create a deck of cards and you can lend them, put them on a marketplace, and a player can come pick them up and get a reward share split. So for example, if I have a diamond deck that I'd like to rent out on the marketplace, I can create a deck full of diamond level cards, Chaos Legion cards all maxed out, put it on a marketplace. A player can come pick it up and get 20% of what's made with that account. That's what we've built at NFTy Arcade with a few features, but that's really what we're excited about.
So how many people are currently doing this? Like, how many decks are on the platform and how many decks are rented out already?
Yeah, so we launched probably our live beta about 4 weeks ago, and we launched with about 30 to 40 decks, so not that many. And within the last 4 weeks, we've gotten up to about 170. So some pretty significant growth of decks there. And actually, just yesterday, as kind of celebration for us being on this town hall, I added another 15 decks for people to come pick up. I wanted people from the town hall to be able to come pick up some decks on the NFTy Arcade platform. So there are a few decks that I just added for people to come to pick up from actually Mr. Yabamat himself. He's graciously decided to add a few cards on our service. We're grateful for him and for his willingness to do that. So people can come pick up some gold level accounts to play completely for free. Invite your friends, family, get them into Splinterlands. Let's grow the ecosystem. And we have after 4 weeks, we have roughly just over 500 players on the platform. So 170 decks, 500 players, big inconsistency there. We need more decks.
Yeah, it's my plan to get some more out there too. And just out of curiosity, which founder put decks on your platform first?
Agrode actually put decks on the platform first.
That's interesting to know. All right. Well, that was just a minor curiosity, but it's good to hear that Matt followed suit. Okay, so you have a platform up. Is there something that you'd like to show about the NFTy platform and what you're doing, or is this just meant to be sort of a high-level discussion?
Absolutely. I just want to show real quick what the platform does. And again, want to thank Jarvie for the enthusiasm. Really, Jarvie's here in Utah with us, so we've met up a few times. We play pickleball together. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's a pretty fun game, sweeping the nation, and we're excited about that relationship. So the NFTy Arcade platform really does two things primarily right now. So as you can see, I'm sharing my screen here. We actually created a portfolio visualizer. So this allows you to see all of the assets that you have in the Splinterlands ecosystem over a period of time. So you have cards, you have land. I'll kind of show you here. You can have multiple accounts on here. And so you can see we have all of the currencies in the ecosystem, and then we have the different tokens, and you can actually see the value. So I can actually drill down into each little piece of the Splinterlands ecosystem that I want to check out. So I can see the worth of my cards here. I can see the value over time. I can see the different types of cards I have. And that's the portfolio visualizer. And then the last thing on here is just you can actually see your earnings as well. So there's a lot of different ways to earn in the Splinterlands ecosystem. You've got personal gameplay, flat rate renting like on Peakmonsters. You've got revenue share. That's what we call our service, revenue share. You've got staking, land rewards, license rewards, etc. So you can use our platform to see all of the different ways that you've earned in Splinterlands over an indefinite period of time, which is pretty cool as well for any bookkeeping or whatever you want to do just to see the money rolling in. Right. And that's a free feature, by the way, Agro. That's totally free for everyone in the community. They can come on, start tracking their stuff. And I invite everybody to get on because it's indefinite, right? It doesn't end. So as soon as you jump on there, it's actually tracking everything indefinitely, which is really cool. But that's not.
Do you have Hive Engine tribal decks pools in there yet?
Pools? Oh no, we don't. That's actually such a great idea. No, we don't. We need to add that.
You get pools in there, and I promise I'll start checking that site every day.
Okay, awesome. We have a commitment, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get the fools on there as well for Mr. Agrode. And then the thing that we're most excited about, obviously, is the portfolio visualizer is cool, but that's not really why we're here, right? So I want to show you guys the marketplace and actually how the deck rental system works. So sometimes when I share my screen, it takes me a little while to load, but basically what you're going to see here is you're going to see that there are individual decks available on the marketplace for rent, and every deck has a reward share split. So what that means is myself, I can come as an asset owner and I can come list decks on the marketplace, and then what we call a borrower or a player can come pick them up and start borrowing them. Right. And so I know we've got John on there and Agrode's on there as well. And I actually wanted to give John a little bit of space to talk about this as well a little later. But ultimately, this is how it works. You know, you can see on here that we've got a few decks on here. We've got a max gold foil Chaos Legion deck, 260,000 collection power, 90% player split. This is On the Mountain, by the way, for everybody who knows On the Mountain, one of the Splinterlands streamers. He's got this deck that's being borrowed. And one thing I can actually do over here is I can filter for available decks. And like I said, I just added a bunch of decks from Time Walk here, actually. So we've got a bunch of gold decks with 0 rating that you and your friends can come pick up. So we want to help the Splinterlands ecosystem grow. Primarily, the purpose of this platform is to give asset owners an opportunity to lend their assets out, but also grow the Splinterlands ecosystem in tandem, because there are a lot of assets that could be placed in the hands of new players. We want to grow this game. We want to grow the opportunity for people to get in, but it's hard. It's hard for new players to come in and play the game, but we've solved that. We have an opportunity here for new players to come in, pick up a deck, and start playing the game at a high level, which is so exciting. Muted, by the way, Agrode, sorry.
Yeah, I did that because I heard some squawking in the background. I added my decks personally because I thought that this was a good way to get new users to get here. And, everybody wants like a new user experience where they have some access to be able to play these things and know what it's like. I mean, ultimately, our goal is to have Splinterlands have a one-click activation of this kind of thing, where now, like, I'm a new player. I have $15 I'm willing to try this out on. I want to go rent some sweet deck for a week or two and go play with that and see what it's like. So that's kind of where we envision this. And hopefully in the not too distant future, there'll be links to NFTy and kind of like integrate your platform into ours so that somebody can just kind of like do a one-click rental, and it can be for credits and have the deck settle somehow else or whatever is necessary to make this happen. But that would be good. That's what I look forward to.
Absolutely.
You mind if I jump in? I got a few words I'd like to say, if that's all right. I know I'm not
some
on.
words, John.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool.
Actually, Ron, can people hear John? All right, go for it.
Okay. All right. Nice. All right. So first of all, Tyler, it's fantastic work. Like you referenced, I got some decks listed there. It's been a wonderful experience. But I think there's some hidden brilliance to what's actually happening here. So Splinterlands has been around for 4.5 years, and to my knowledge, I think every single way to play the game that nets any sort of return requires some sort of upfront cost. Now, there's really ways to do this that doesn't cost a lot upfront, but there always has been an upfront cost. I think the real brilliance of what's happening here is the flip of the business model. So if you're a gamer and you don't have any money to go and sink into playing a game like this, you can come into NFTy's platform, you can find a deck that you like, assuming there's one available, and you can actually just rent it for free right up front and have access to play in the higher levels, the higher leagues. To me, this is a really interesting proposition, because now you have effectively a free-to-play on-ramp for the masses, right? And Tyler, what's the statistic right now? I mean, this is a very nascent stage for your operation. What percent of the gamers who want to play Splinterlands at the higher levels actually have access to decks at the moment?
Yeah, so we have about 100 active borrowers on the platform because there's just so much demand and not enough supply. So we have roughly 100 active borrowers, but we have 500 people on the platform wanting to be able to use decks, right? And there's not enough availability. Again, one of the awesome things about the Splinterlands ecosystem is there are people who want to play the game at a high level. They want to use gold decks, they want to use diamond, but they just can't. They can't afford it. They can't afford to rent, or it doesn't make sense for them. And so kind of that ratio, John, is we're looking anywhere from a 20 to 25%, hey, people that want to use it that actually can right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's kind of one of those things where it's an everybody wins scenario, right? So if you're a gamer who wants to play a game like this and you don't have the capital up front, you can come in and rent decks and agree to a split with the owner of the deck, and you can start to accumulate your own assets, right? You can earn some rewards, you can earn some cards, you can potentially earn some card packs, and you can start to build the seeds of your own collection this way. For the deck owners, you have sort of, what I think can be potentially really unlimited demand for your assets, right? So if you have a bunch of cards, you want to curate those into a deck, or if you want help curating those into a deck, you can get that. And you can basically just list decks of cards here that otherwise might be sitting around or doing other things, and give real gamers access to be able to play the game. So, on the supply side and the demand side, we end up with a really nice situation that has the potential to become a flywheel. And frankly, Tyler, talk about your marketing efforts so far. Have you been even marketing this all that much outside of the Splinterlands community?
Not at all. Not at all. We haven't even turned on the faucet yet. Guys, just because we want to get more decks on there. Because there's so much demand.
Yes, we need more decks. And Tyler, how many other communities full of thousands of gamers have we talked to about potentially coming in and getting access to your platform?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. I'd say anywhere from 5 to 10, and many of those have thousands, tens of thousands of people even that want to come into the ecosystem. And this is a really easy way for them to do so, because they can get their community exposed. They can get their people playing some low-level accounts and really get community exposure and really try out the ecosystem for the first time without committing a ton, and then really get involved, which is really exciting for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think what we're doing here is we're trying to solve two problems at once. And one is a very easy problem to solve. And that is how to populate the platform with gamers, real gamers that are humans that want to go play the game. And the other side is, how do we take that demand and display that demand to attract more people to list decks of cards in the platform? So that's where I think we could really use some help getting the flywheel going from the community. So anybody that finds this concept interesting, again, I think this becomes a flywheel concept. And if we get this thing rolling, it also will help us to begin to attract a lot of other capital into the ecosystem as well. So not investment price, but it's a really nice setup.
If what's your policy around bots for this service, right? Like as a lender, I probably don't want, like, I'm making decks to go help new people join this ecosystem, but I'm not really looking for that to be a botted deck. How do you handle that on the platform? What do you look for, or what do you do?
That's a great question, Agrod, and I'm glad you brought that up, because at first we try to mirror Splinterlands as much as possible and be bot neutral, but something that we've realized is there's just such a massive demand and supply problem that gamers don't need to be competing with bots right now, right? And so we instituted a policy as of now that we don't allow bots, we don't allow people to bot on our platform, just because we want gamers, we want to grow the ecosystem, we want players, and we have proprietary methodologies to identify and remove bots from the platform. And I won't share what those are because I don't want it to be reverse engineered, but we can identify bots on our platform, and we have players on our platform. We actually have identified some issues and we have removed them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's great. Like on the, for our service is meant to be like a completely, as much of a decentralized service as we can offer. And there, I don't think it makes sense to like ban bots, because that's not how decentralization works. So the concept of banning and decentralization typically don't go hand in hand together. But if you guys are running like, here's a centralized service, that's a great spot to be like, screw you, bot owners. You don't get to deal with any of this. Here's hundreds of thousands or billions of dollars of capital and you guys get access to none of it. And I think that's great. That's so, on the protocol level, I think it has to be open. And then on the individual service level, I think everybody gets to command their business how they want. And I support your decision to say no bots for this. So I think that's a good balance of on the across the board, everybody can bot if they want, but for these specific services, the people operating it don't want that, and the community doesn't want that. So the answer is no. And I think that's a good balance.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you, Agrod. And again, the last thing I want to add here is our whole intention is to help onboard new players, everybody. And we actually have a link and we'll share it in there, but there's a new guide to actually help people who have never seen or played Splinterlands experience the game, learn a little bit about it, kind of like you would on Steam or you would on Nintendo Play Store, get involved and actually create an account all the way from getting involved in Splinterlands to borrowing a deck for free on our platform. We want to bring people in, share that with friends and family. Let's grow the game, and we can do it together. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, you are really excited about it.
Yes, he is. Not to get too roadmappy, Tyler, I got one more question for you. What do you have in mind maybe in the near future regarding guild play?
Oh, John, thank you for bringing that up. Actually, he saved me. So I had forgotten about that. So something else that we're working on in the near future, everybody, is a part of lending a deck on the platform. You're actually going to be able to enable a guild spot for that deck. So if you have a guild and you want that deck to earn the 20% more from the quest hall, or you want the person borrowing that deck to participate in brawls, that will be enabled within the next few weeks as well. So you'll have a deck on our platform, a player playing ranked, but then they'll also be able to participate in a guild and in brawls as dint of borrowing on our platform, all of it at the click of a button.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in like a concept of like a mercenary guild where like everybody that's in there is playing with a rented deck. I think there's just something about that that's like, this is the pickup league. Here's your pug, I just think that'd be pretty fun.
Can you say guild one more time, Tyler?
Yeah, he doesn't say guild. He rhymes it with yield.
Yield?
Because I want you to be thinking yield, right?
Yeah.
Yield. Here's
like Chatter's Llamas.
Yeah, Lama. How many Lamas do you have in your guild?
At least 7.
Yeah.
At least 7.
Fair enough. All right. Well, Tyler, it's always a pleasure to have the Nifty Boys on. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. And you guys are good sports, and I'm glad you're part of this. Thanks for doing it.
Thanks for having us, guys. And thank you for the accolades, John and Jarvie. Super excited to be here and help the ecosystem, right? Appreciate you guys.
Rock on. All right, let's go back to the full team meeting because we're gonna do this a little bit oddly. We're not completely baking this out into all the different spots. So we have 3 folks that we kind of want to kind of talk through. We got Weirdbeard, we got Nate, and we got Mike. And let's start with Weirdbeard so that you can just kind of like. I imagine that you're going to plow through what happened this past week. So let's hear it. Tell us who you are, what you're going to talk about. And I guess we did some of that, but Weirdbeard, what the hell's going on? What's going on?
Lots. There's lots of behind the scenes like meetings and talks and all kinds of stuff. Because right now we're in the midst of planning what we're doing in 2023, right? Like we have lots of things on the deck that we're trying to get out there and get deployed. And I'm excited. I think it's like a lot of conversations that have to be had that are like going forward, right? I've mentioned this before in the past to where the way that we previously had a lot of development cycles run was that we had like these major projects and they just sucked all the oxygen out of the room because they were like the big deal, right? You can't take your eye off the ball. But now we're making it to where we not only are able to deliver faster and more, but make it so that we're able to deliver those small quality of life changes as well, which is going to be a huge boon to the things that we're doing. Because then it's like we can still get big things done, but we're not having to sacrifice, we can't do our everyday house cleaning type stuff and keep up on that.
So okay, that's kind of high level. What are we seeing this week? You mentioned a specific tournament type that's coming.
Yeah.
So we got kind of like, how do we get new things in? And then we also have, what are the new things that are actually coming? What's actually like rolling out?
Well, I'll let it slide. At least say that it's being worked on. that we're pretty well done with being able to roll out gladiator tournaments to where people are going to be able to enter into tournaments that allow you to play a gladiator card in them.
And is that like a requested feature? Are we shoving that down the throats of gamers everywhere? What's that look like?
I mean, the biggest thing is that I get absolutely asked for all the time. People want more opportunities to use gladiator cards in some way, right? Like they use them in brawls, and then they'll be like, "Oh, well, I need more time to pick my teams because the only time I see my gladiator cards is when I'm in a brawl." So like, I don't know what to do with them. I don't know what they do. So being able to roll out these tournaments, I think, is going to be not only good practice for the people that want it, but it also incentivizes, people to earn gladiator cards, to go and join these guilds, to compete in brawls and be excited to know what the hell the cards even do. I think is a big improvement for what they're seeing. We're also making it so that we're able to have like farther expansion with what people already have, right? Like we don't need to reinvent the wheel every single time that we want to do something in the game. We're able to say, hey, we already have tournaments. We already do ghost card tournaments. We now even have ghost card gladiator tournaments if we wanted to include them, so that people would be able to have access to all of the gladiator cards in ghost card tournaments. So, really kind of digging into there and fixing and expanding on the stuff that already exists, as opposed to like having to, like I said, reinvent the wheel and invest a whole bunch of dev time to like just getting something out the door.
Okay. Other high level stuff that's on your brain?
Yeah,
or detailed.
I spent all of Friday in Discord last week, in the tournaments channel, talking about like a whole bunch of big ideas. It wasn't like a ton of ideas that are going to happen today. They're not even going to happen like in the next couple of months. But really trying to find player priorities and see just what makes players get excited. Like the things that because like right now we're in this weird, and it's not bad, but it's like a balancing act, right? Like you can't just do all cool stuff because cool stuff doesn't pay the bills. Like we have to be a solvent company that's going after revenue and developing products that like bring in revenue into the company. But you can't also completely go and do one side without advocating for like, hey, what are some player requested things that are cool? What are the things that, maybe aren't a revenue play, but still like have word of mouth attached to them? And so identifying a lot of that kind of stuff, the biggest things that came out were the battle pass that we've talked about. Draft mode tournaments is a big thing that players are very, very interested in going after. We've kicked around ideas for having human only tournaments and league locks. And we're starting to size that up internally and see how we do that. So, I think we have a pretty clear, like I put out, I think 11 different like large big ideas, or in the company we would call them epics, to the community, and said, hey guys, tell me what you're interested in, what makes sense. So we have a pretty good ranking for that. And so now it's just like being able to find how big the tasks they are and how we can do small parts of it alongside also still delivering on the big promises like land and like guild alliances and like the big priorities that the company already has as well.
On a slightly separate note, high level, I'm thinking that it's important that we get you in front of the audience more frequently, just getting lots of communication. So I'm putting that back on you and Chatter's radar for January and February of like, hosting like an open forum for discussion. I think you bring the professionalism to lead it, but it should really be like the players that just come in and like speak about the things that they want and what they don't want. And, maybe a place where if we're planning on doing something, we can kind of take it to the community to like hash it out. It wouldn't necessarily be a broadcast thing, or I don't know. It's less formal than this. It's like a working group, or it might just be a complaining group, but hopefully it's like a solutions group of like, what do we want? What should it look like? Almost like a players union or something of like what, and so, I don't think that we should really be the ones that like totally run it, but I think that we should help like manage, orchestrate, give it time for it, and like help get this thing kicked off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, like the biggest thing is that I see myself less as a like advocate for my own stuff. I see myself as an advocate for what I'm told is important by players, right? Like I always say there are many, many people in this company who are far greater at talking about the tokenomics and economics of this game and like all the very in-depth kind of like numbers-based stuff. What I'm good at is being told, hey, here's what 80% of players are consistently asking for. How can we address that and deliver on it and figure that out? And like being able to, that's sort of what we did on the Friday Discord thread. Is I called it office hours because I just posted all my stuff in the morning, pinned that stuff up there, and invited people to come in and just yell at me for a couple hours at a time. And they would come in, they would tell me the things they don't like, and I could refer them back to either stuff that we've already talked about or like, hey, that's really good, let's put this on this list. And I think that's the kind of stuff that we're going to be doing, and especially after having 2 full days of like internal company meetings where we've set, hey, here's our focuses, here's the things that we're doing. Our development periods that we're doing now leave little room, that wiggle room, to be able to fit in some of these player requests, some of the things that players are really advocating for. Like, it allows us to not just be so focused on delivering one thing that we sacrifice everything else. And so I think we're going to be able to have like effective communication now by doing those meetings or those working groups, like you said, and being able to actually implement it and not just go, oh, wow, great idea, let's put it on the backlog. And then maybe talk about it in a year.
This is a really good segue to bring in Mike. So let's do one thing. So you've started writing some epics, and what is the purpose of writing an epic? What is that epic kind of detail? And then what is your experience internal to this company of like, what is it like to kind of shuffle these ideas through?
Yeah. So, I mean, the writing an epic is essentially like having a big plan, right? Like, you go through and you already kind of have to have the rough idea of like, here's a thing, here's what I want it to do, here's how I can kind of make it a reality. And then bringing it to the people that are the code monkeys, the people that actually know how to do things. And they go, no, Rick, that's not how that works. How about we try to do it like this? You go, oh, good idea. Or, being able to go to Nate with his creative team and be like, Nate, I want a whole tapestry that's oil painted on the side of a building. And he goes, no, that's never going to happen, Rick. How about we give you one digital illustration and you call it a day? And I think like, a lot of it is refinement, but it's more than anything, it's giving somebody who's like the master of a task. Like, if I'm the owner of what I'm calling Tournaments Reloaded, like doing human only tournaments and league locks, I need to be the owner of that because it's like there's a grander picture. And then we come to all the people that do the actual work, and instead of going, you guys do this, you guys do this, you guys do that, I don't know exactly how all of those things work. So I have the high level, and I go to the experts on it. They work together to pull this and push this plan through, essentially.
All right, Mike, I think that's a decent segue. Do you want to talk about, high level, who are you? What is your role? What is Agile? And then like, what have we just recently done to sort of implement these things?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So first and foremost, before I start though, I just want to wish everyone a wonderful solstice. I just, may this day bring you balance and renewed energy in your individual adventure in life to all that are here and all in our community.
Is today the actual solstice?
Indeed, sir. 12/21.
All right. It's been a wonky day. So I'd like to think that maybe there's some astrological thing that has made my day this
100%. So I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet, much like myself. My gamer tag is Livingsoil, and I've been with Splinterlands about 3 months now. I'm an experienced IT delivery agile coach, scrum master, army officer, farmer, and ultimately gaming nerd. I've successfully created and launched dozens of high-performing teams of teams, entire agile delivery organizations in the corporate world, contracting world, Web3 space. And so I try to bring some of that leverage, that knowledge, that experience, and those skills here to Splinterlands to employ those things. So a little more about me and kind of giving perspective. Crypto DeFi native, been in the space since 2017, and I truly believe the future is built on blockchain and cryptocurrencies. I really do see a promising future that belongs to developers. To be honest, developers over lawyers is my preference. I've worked with the leadership team here at Splinterlands to restructure the entirety of our delivery organization into a high-performing, quality-focused agile team-based structure. So what does that mean? We work together, right? Synergistically. You have the team members, the developers, the creators, the product folks, the testers, the support folks all come into the room together, and we create the best solutions based on everyone's well-rounded feedback. And so the goal being that the backlog that we create out of that of new features, products, fixes, enhancements, and such is value focused, right? And so I would say to the team is seeing the amount of content we shipped on the 12/13 release day, the community's already had a small taste of what this organization can accomplish in this new mode. This honestly is just the beginning here. Our product team are preparing vision and roadmaps for their teams. So the teams take that and they use this uniquely crafted form of Agile Scrum that we do to deliver on that vision. It helps us more accurately, one, in predicting what we're releasing of content, when we intend to release it, and two, it speeds up the delivery pathway as well as the efficiency of that delivering on that plan. And so we're bringing the new delivery machine up to full speed right now over the coming weeks and months, since this is a major organizational pivot. And from right now, everything we've seen, very successful, right? We had a fantastic planning, like Rick was talking about the last 2 days. We got the whole teams together. We sat around, we discussed what do we want to build? How do we want to build it? How do we want to get there? What's the best way to get there? And so we're going to be doing these plannings once a quarter, about every 10 weeks or so. And we'll be continually conducting these to keep the organization, the teams aligned around providing the highest quality value to the community and to anyone who uses our games, products, services, experiences. And so one thing I do ask of the community, though, is patience in the meantime as we get this and other transparency initiatives launched as well. The goal there being to give the community visibility into that delivery process and pipeline, more so than they have today. The ultimate goal I want to get to is that the community gets basically a near live feed of the major initiatives and the delivery value streams of the content we're producing as we produce it. Live action, like looking in, where's this initiative at? Okay, it's 60% done and it's at this point and it should be released around this time. I want to give that feedback cycle. I want to make this more of a merger of the community and the team all in one, right? So that's why I asked.
I've often had, I've had this image of like, if they want us to be in a fishbowl. They want us to be fish in a fishbowl. And if our players could like literally strap a GoPro on top of like Cryptomancer's head so they could watch him code, I think they would, because they want to be that up to date. And this, I think, is the equivalent of that, of like, we are building our plans. We've planned out the next quarter, or we've done a lot of the planning for the next quarter. And now we have a better sense of like, how much work do we think we can get done? What are the next priorities? What's the order of which we're doing them? When can we expect them? And so that's all sort of done. And I think when we asked the team, how confident are you on a scale of 1 to 5, the most common answer was a 4, and it meant highly confident. So I think we have, our team is pretty much aligned with, this is our objectives, and I think I don't think Cryptomancer would be comfortable having a GoPro strapped to his head. But I do think that over time, I don't know if it'll be like the next day, because I think we need to get a couple cycles under our belt before we make everything entirely public. It's a lot to learn this process, change to this, and then make it publicly accessible. So I think that might be a little early, but sometime maybe at the end of Q1, I'd love to see us open this. I got to get buy-in from the devs and the product owners, but have a view-only role where anyone in the community that's like, when this, when that, why are you doing this? What's the order? What's that success criteria? If we can like open that up and let everybody view it, I think it'd be great. In part because, part of this is just trying to figure out, did we miss something? And, in our teams, we'll have something like, anywhere from 5 to 15 people in a team kind of going through this. But if we could get our community to kind of get another set of eyeballs on it and give some feedback about it, we might catch things that we wouldn't have otherwise caught, and maybe even crowdsource this a little bit. And who knows, maybe at one point there's a role for some community member to help us kind of like go through our backlog, or crowdsource game development. It's a Web3 product. You guys own this too. Let's see if the people that own Stake could actually come in here and participate and plan and shape it. If there's some folks that show some talent for that, I'd be open to it.
That sounds great, Aggie, and that's directly in line. Yeah, that's why I use the word, and the word is not a very liked one in the Web3 space, but patience is going to be key to making sure we get that up the right way so everybody gets to see those pieces. That said, I just want folks to know that the teams are well aligned on their objectives and their vision. They're empowered to refine the product together to build the best, most innovative, and bottom line, the most fun games and experiences that we can. At the end of the day, I'm here to play games. I like games. I've always enjoyed them. And I know a lot of the people here are gamers as well. So I just want to say that I appreciate you all for being here. Look forward to building the future that belongs to all of us and serves us together. Thank you.
So my take with this is like, we just spent the last 2 days planning. So like, I don't always try to do that with my team. In fact, both Matt and I have a sense of urgency around us that like has not always presented let's go plan as a big option. But going forward, back in February or March, we went down to Florida. We set up our new teams and we started working on it. And after that, we really saw like a pretty massive jump in terms of like how much code we could ship and execute on. And then we just did this again for the past 2 days to try to. This one was a virtual meeting rather than person, but I feel like we got a pretty good sense of what we need to build, how we need to build it. Can you just talk about that planning schedule and like what the groups actually did so that, why are we so confident that we can ship code faster now than we could 2 days ago?
All right. Yeah. So agile, we talked about that a little bit. What does that word mean, right? And it means a lot to a lot of people. I had a coach once that explained to me that said, if you can't use agile and the word flexible in a sentence interchangeably, you're doing it wrong. And so the goal is to create an organization that is flexible enough to deliver to the needs of the community, respond to the market conditions, deal with whatever that's coming along, but yet at the same time be planful in our approach to do so. So the last couple of days, basically what we did is we set up a programmatic planning, brought everybody in, and we did a series of, I guess you can call them briefings to align the organization. So the executives briefed, the wizards briefed, the product folks kind of gave their vision and direction. The CTO came out and gave some standards and expected things and just kind of like a cultural expectation for the organization. The goal being that we take the time to really think through what we're doing when we do it. We're planful in it. We organize around that. And then we lay it out over the course of what we call an agile sprints. Now, I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole, but a sprint is like a 2-week time box. We plan, we execute, and we deliver within 2 weeks. So we plan for that 2 weeks. Every day we come together in what we call a scrum meeting. So we all get in the room and we say, hey, we planned all this. This is our goal. Here's where we're at in accomplishing that goal. And we go around the room and every engineer has a chance to bring up where they're at, anything that they're getting stuck with, anything they need help with. So it really is a more collaborative solution to delivering software solutions and products than, say, a legacy organization where somebody would just take a task order and then go off and then build it by themselves and show up later, 6 months, a year later. Is it what we wanted? I don't know. But in this model, we're doing it very actively, very involved with one another, very, very open within the teams. And so we receive all that feedback and all those perspectives from all the players when we're creating these solutions. I hope that gives some perspective.
Yep. Yeah. So we have a process and we have a plan, and now we can do things like send Weirdbeard out into the community. We can go gather up as much intelligence as we can get. We can bring that internal, build epics. Those epics can be broken down into stories. Those stories can be assigned to devs, and the devs can go kind of put this stuff together. And we have some projects that we want to do. We try to save some time for the stuff that the community wants us to do, which a lot of time is overlapping. It's not like we want land and the community doesn't. We all kind of know what some of these major things are that we're trying to ship. So this company's gone through like a fair amount of health. We had to downsize. We have all these brand new teams. We're introducing a new process. We've gotten organized around it. And, I think by early January, we got like a week of holidays now, but come January, I think that the teams are ready they know what they have to build, that they've planned it, they've written it out, they've given specs, they've refined them. They know what the different pieces are, and they kind of have a green light to build it. Sometimes when you're building this stuff, you're like, is this what they want? Is that what they want? I don't really know. And that leads to confusion. But now, since everybody kind of got in a room and explained all this, I just feel like we all looked at it. We said, yes, that's what we want to build. It should look something like this. Go out into the world and produce it. And I feel like this is the right amount of planning. You know, the planning is not me telling Nate I need a cornflower blue button down in the bottom left. You know, Nate is a better designer than I'll ever be. He should have full flexibility to do that. And I shouldn't go up to one of the devs and be like, look, when you're going to go code this, this is the formatting that I want you to use, because the dev is going to know that a million times better than me. But I know what the success criteria are going to be. The leadership team knows this is what our customers want. This is what the product needs to be. These are the minimum standards. This is our acceptance criteria to make it work. And that's the kind of level that I feel like, you know, we don't want to get too far in the weeds, but we all need to look at something and say, this is roughly what we're trying to produce. And I feel like, you know, there's a lot of ways to do Scrum and do Agile. I feel like Mike's method here is one of the strongest and a really good fit for this company. And I'm excited to see what we produce. And you guys will find out. It'll take us a couple sprints, so maybe, you know, January or February before you guys start seeing the major differences. But that's where we're going to live. So anything else you want to add, Mike? I know that you've tried to run out of here once or twice already, but anything else?
No, I'm just excited to be here. I'm glad to be part of the team, and I'm glad to be part of the experience and building the Web3 future that we're all working on. So thank you all for being here with me.
Thanks, Mike. All right, Nate. So a big part of all this, both in terms of like producing things and also shipping things and seeing things, you know, we're all looking forward to that kind of like visual development that happens within the creative team. So, you know, your world got a little bit rocked with the downsizing or the right sizing that we had to do. And then, you know, you've been knee deep in some of this process stuff too. Just like, you know, what's your take? Do you feel like we're in a spot where we can ship faster? Do you feel like you are more connected or less connected as being part of the creative team, working with the devs and working with the product owners? Like, are you anxious about what we're doing? Are you excited about what we're doing? Like, you know, how has some of this impacted you and your workflow?
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to pivot. That's for sure. And I think that we're made a lot of strides to do that at all levels, at a company-wide level, team level, individually. Everyone in the company is kind of shifted a little bit from where we were, you know, a few months ago to, but you know, like Aggie, you pointed this out numerous times in other town halls. It's that, you know, from starting off with such a small team from 2018 to where we're at now, it's hard to look at this as much of a downsizing because we are so much bigger than we were when we started. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, yeah, I mean, I could count the number of people on the team on one hand, and still now I need two hands. I need both my feet, and that's still not enough. I need, you know, quadruple hands and feet, and it'll look like some kind of mutant monster in order to count how many people are still in the company and working hard to bring the players more value and more fun and a greater game experience. So from that standpoint, yeah, things are still, I mean, great. Things are great, you know, and in terms of rate of production, I think people have noticed that we haven't really, you know, it seemed a little scary when we had announced the layoffs and, oh no, you know, there's a little nervousness there, but I think we've proven already in just the short amount of time since that's happened that, yeah, we barely even a speed bump. Like we are rocking and rolling. Things are full steam ahead. And that mentality has not changed. Not now, not next month, not the month after that. I think the planning sessions earlier this week, you know, with Mike's help and facilitation and everything that we discussed and talked about, just solidifies in my mind, anyways, that I'm bullish. I'm bullish as all heck. For those of you who, I mean, we're on the blockchain. You can see what I'm doing along with any other team members. I'm buying cards. I'm buying plots of land. I'm buying not financial advice, but I'm just as bullish as I've always been. And you know, I'm pretty excited about the future. It looks pretty bright indeed.
Sweet. All right. So let's get more specific into what creative is working on. So, you know, do you have, you know, I know that the product owners kind of have their own, their own like roadmap of what they need to get done. Do you have like your own separate set of stories and epics and things that you guys need to create, or how does creative sort of organize the work that they have to do? And then once you know how you're organizing it, like what are your top priorities right now?
No, that's a great question for those of you who kind of want to glimpse behind the curtain on how creative operates. There has to be the left hand needs to know what the right hand is doing, and that's where Michael, our Scrum Master for the company, really shines and really makes sure that everyone is in the same room, talking, discussing, collaborating. That there's no surprises at the end. There's no one running ahead off into the jungle before the consensus is reached and everyone's on the same page of music. So that is absolutely critical. And so once those marching orders are there and we're decided as a company, here's what we value and here's how we're prioritizing and here's our Q1 goals and objectives and how we're going to break things down into sprints, like kind of like how Michael already described, then those directives are brought to creative. And we do have our own internal project management boards that are specific to what we need to do, because oftentimes what's discussed in a planning session for what's being worked on next week or next month, creative is much more long term. I mean, typically the stuff that we're working on right now may not see the light of day for a year. It may, like, there are some things we need a lot of runway with. If you talk about like land, the ultimate end goal of that is that landowners get an opportunity to basically set up a digital storefront in this online universe and have a business the same as you would if you were to go lease some office space and grab a pizza oven and get all the tools you needed and hire some employees and do all that stuff so that people could call you up on the phone and order some pizzas and you send the delivery guy, all that stuff, all that investment that you put into the real world. We're mimicking that in a digital space, making owning a business extremely accessible to everyone around the world who wants to, set up this business in this fantasy world. But as a result, some of the end product that gets bought and sold once crafting is released includes items and spells, and you're going to need such a wide assortment of buildings, all level 1 to level 10, and the inside of the buildings, what do those look like, and all the different, like, maybe the game mechanics might require some sort of workbench or anvil or all of the little different equipment pieces that might go in these slots along with your totems, or who knows what that'll look like. It hasn't been quite finalized yet. It's all TBD, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of art assets to create, and we can't wait until the end of the year or whatever quarter we decide to release that. That has to happen now. So we are in the trenches as we speak, working steadily, hard. The creative team is doing such an unbelievably awesome job. Hats off to the creative coordinators, which those guys, Alfredo and Tyler, they work with all the different aspects of creative, the animators, the narrative designers, the freaking artists, and the music and the sound effects and everything in between. They get all these moving pieces, make sure all the cogs in the wheel are all in alignment and synchronized so that we all meet our deadlines and objectives and are able to pass the baton over to the devs and engineering so they can go ahead and execute and implement everything that we bring to them. So there's definitely a lot going on, but everything from what I can tell is a lean, mean machine. We're doing well. I think all our objectives will be met. I think everyone's going to be really happy with, we keep saying, okay, it's time to fulfill all these promises we made. It's time to go ahead and give you guys what we've been talking about for so long, whether it's land or otherwise. And I see it. It's happening, guys. Like I see the assets in front of me. We're reviewing it. We're saying thumbs up, thumbs down. We're going back and revising. Things are happening. The train is moving. So, if you guys could see what I see, I promise you'd be just as excited and bullish as I am. If not more so. So it's cool to see.
Well, speaking of a scene, let's do some eye candy. Are there things that what pieces do you want to kind of put out there into the world so that we can see, what are your highest priorities and what's kind of getting cranked out right now about them?
Yeah. So, I guess, I mean, we're pretty much neck deep in land. That's for sure. So, something that, we've discussed internally, and again, until an official roadmap is produced, please take everything I say with a grain of salt. But in my head, I'm thinking that the way that probably things will be rolled out is probably, you'll probably see some polish to what we launched with for 0.5. You guys have been great at giving us feedback. Internally, we look at what we released and said, look, we can make some improvements here and there. And I'm sure that that polish will probably happen sooner rather than later. And then in parallel with that, we're probably going to release the market functionality as fast as we can. So we're hoping in January you guys will see market stuff, hopefully. And that means that it's not just a transfer button. It'll be something like, in fact, let me see. I'll screenshot it from one of the UI concepts. So you'll see an extra button up top. So right now you see the little send button. There'll be the little market listing button up there along with it. So you can see it right there in the Discord chat, and you'll be able to check mark, whether it's 1 or 100 or 1,000 different plots. Click that button, list them for sale quickly and easily in bulk or one at a time, whatever you prefer. And go ahead and, sit back and it should be interesting. The speculation. I'm sure people will be like, should I sell it before I survey or shouldn't I? It's the same thing with card packs. Do I sell this card pack that might have a legendary gold foil in it? Or should I, just kind of statistically look at what's realistic and base my market value on that? It should be interesting to see what the market does once the market functionality happens. After that, I'll probably be, we're really excited about map functionality. So probably after market, I suspect we'll probably right after that, probably add the map functionality. Right now we have a static map image that you guys are all familiar with. You see it's basically a big JPEG image, right? I mean, that's all that is. It's a big JPEG image. We created in Photoshop, added a bunch of dots, and you could zoom in a little bit. For those of you guys who are just look at the map, and that's it. The devs did a great job. They found this. They went and did the extra effort. The design team didn't even ask them to do this. Engineering says, hey, why don't we try this? And we're like, sure, if you guys could pull it off. And so they have it so that if you drag the map around, you could pan it, you could zoom in a little bit, or put your finger on the wheel on your mouse, and you can zoom in a little bit to the features so you can more clearly read the numbers on the map. So if you haven't played with that little limited functionality, that was pretty cool. They wanted to give you guys that. But the map functionality will go well beyond that. At that point, we're talking placing dynamic region locations in the proper XY coordinates as an overlay, so that you got tooltips and on hover effects. You'd be able to, maybe on hover on one of the dots and it glows, and a little pop-up will show you like, oh, there's this many, plots in this particular region that is owned or for sale or whatever the heck. I was looking at a very cool UI design recently from one of our UI designers, Harry, who made it so that you can go ahead and toggle or activate off and on the territories. Because I know that some people are like, well, with that color overlay, how do I see, what's under there? It's kind of blocking my view a little bit. So we're going to make it so that you could kind of toggle those off and on a little bit. That should be cool. I'm assuming after map function, and map function, I should also introduce the grid. So I don't know. I think I have a screenshot here somewhere of the grid for those of you who haven't seen it. This one might be a little bit different than the one we shared at Splinterfest. Here is, for those of you who haven't seen what should happen when you click on one of these dots on Praetorian, one of these regions, then it should transition you to this screen here. That'll look something like that. This is a grid that is more like what it'll actually be. The ones we had at Splinterfest were kind of like these mock-ups and these ideas. We tilted the hexagon to the side, plopped it over because I wanted the tops and bottoms to be flat rather than pointed. We fiddled a little bit here and there. If the plot is claimed, then you'll be able to see through it. You'll get this blurred imagery of the background in the artwork, so that you can kind of speculate on like, hey, you know what? That's probably a forest, or that's probably hills. If it's unclaimed, then it'll probably be fog of war style, kind of grayed out, so you have no idea what's under there. But yeah, we figured, if you have the deed, you should probably be able to speculate and take a look at that. That way, when you perform the market functionality and people start buying and selling, then you can go off the basis. You can look at it and you're like, well, it's probably going to be a forest. Now, keep in mind, even if it looks straight up like a forest, then chances are every geography plot, I believe what we have planned is that every geography plot, if it's forest, there's also a small chance that it might be something else. So there'll be a small list of different geography types, like a table that's generated with very small percentages. So maybe if it looks like it has trees and it's probably a forest, you probably have like an 80% chance it's going to be a forest. But there might be like a 2% chance, right, that it's a clearing in the woods. Like maybe there's like a little pond there, or a little swampy, sand that you might sink into or something. So, there's that speculative part of introducing both marketplace and the map functionality. Once those two are released, that'll be fun. I think people will have fun with that. And then finally, right after that, full-blown surveys. And I think that's what people have been waiting for, the full survey experience. So you'll be able to click on the plot and say, hey, send those team of goblins out on a caravan and tell me what the heck I got out there. And they go off on their caravan and they go scope out the place and see whether you have a forest or a mountain or this or that, and whether it's common or legendary. Is it magical? Is it occupied? Is it one of those kingdom lands with a keep or a castle? That's the stuff that people want to know. So what I would encourage people to do is like take advantage of the time before surveys happen. Speculate, maneuver, make your buying and selling, do what you can to prepare for that big survey moment, because once it happens, it's going to be nuts. So that's what I have to share for land. Other than land, the big one is going to be, again, don't quote me on anything, but we're hoping, fingers crossed, that at least by the end of January, beginning of February, that we might be ready to introduce some new reward cards, since the rate, we're almost reaching our caps for the current batch of reward cards, right? So that's also a big thing that we're striving towards.
Okay. Any last thing you want to show? Is that good for now?
It's up to you. I mean, I guess I give you an early Christmas present and show you maybe at least something for the reward. I don't know. I could choose a character at random, just for fun.
We have our next reward card that's coming in a minimum of 20 days or a maximum of 20 days. So do we have do you know who the next legendary summoner is?
Let's see. Are we talking Rift Watchers or Chaos Legion?
Chaos Legion. Chaos Legion is 20 days away.
Oh, that's Immortalis. So I shared that, like, I don't know how many town halls ago. I even saw someone take the image I had shared a long time ago in Mav's chat earlier today or yesterday. I don't know if anyone has that, but Immortalis is this cool, Zeus looking guy with freaking lightning bolt and a dog as a sidekick. Hopefully someone has that image they could share, because I don't have that totally handy right now. But I did share that quite a while ago. But what I can share here, why not just as a consolation prize? I don't think it's a consolation prize. I think it's even better. I'll share some of the concepts for some of the at least maybe a couple of reward card characters, and you guys could speculate on where you think what kind of stats and abilities those guys would probably have. Let's do how about this Minotaur guy? He's called a dry bone barbarian. This is some of the concept work I'll share with you, and you can kind of take your best guess at which one you think we went with. A, B, or C. What would you guys like if you guys were the ones, approving this? I'm curious. Would you choose the same one that we did, that NFTy Arcade did? Would you choose A, B, or C? You think? Oh, there we go. There's Immortalis.
Yeah, I think it's A.
You think A? Is that because your name starts with an A?
No, it's because if I zoom in, that feels like the most action pose of the three.
Well, no, you won. So that is exactly what that is. Let me find the rendered version. Here it is in all its colored rendered glory. That is the Drybone Barbarian.
Yeah, he looks badass.
I
like the braid.
Let's see. I'll find another one that might be fun. This is a storm giant named Iziar, I think is how you pronounce it. So this is kind of like same thing. The concept stage. Would you choose A, B, or C for that one?
I gotta dig B. I like A too, but B kind of strikes me as, I feel like I can find A in a lot of things, but B I don't think I've ever seen before.
Wow, I'm basically I'm not needed anymore. Aggie's just going to take over because here is here's the flat version that we went with, and you're right, we went with B. And then let me find the fully rendered version. Here we go.
Yeah, sick.
So yeah, so that's what we're conceptualizing right now. We're coming up with all kinds of different ideas and thoughts on how to go about doing that kind of stuff. We're pretty stoked. And for those of you who we've talked about in the past, we've had conversations the last couple of town halls about AI, about skins, about all that kind of stuff. And I think I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. It's part of the pipeline now. Like every time we make a new character, we're going to make another skin with the character. We're going to have animations for the character. We're going to have it in a idle pose and an attack pose. We're going to have where it's part of what we do. So as we start bringing this to bear and you guys start seeing these new cards, understand that the foundation is set. We paved the way so that shortly, hopefully soon, maybe in Q1, but maybe more likely in Q2, at some point next year for sure, I would assume that we're probably going to be able to start introducing all this work that we've been working on for the past year or so. I think ever since Untamed, we've been the Untamed set is when we started breaking out the limbs and the heads and the torsos and everything of all the characters. And then we started animating them. And then every set afterwards, we basically prepared this huge library of assets ready to start integrating into the game. And maybe that's in the form of skins. Maybe we start, I know the battle pass idea that Weirdbeard has been championing has gotten a lot of traction. I know that we've always wanted to do achievements in the game at some point. There's voucher store thoughts. There's all this stuff that we want to do. And it's going to be really exciting to see it all come to life, to see finally the fruits of our labors, fall into your guys' hands so that you can be like, wow, this is cool. This is definitely, the game's becoming more like a game and we got all these new toys to play with. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Well, let's go hop into some questions now. So if, actually, no, I got to do, I know, Ron, I screwed up. So we got to do shout outs and we got to do a clip of the week. So Ron, can you come on and do this with me? So let's see. So this week it's not too bad. We got a Downtown Detail with a shout out. Jarvie Saints, what up? Boo Tops 18. Everybody knows Boo Tops, one of the most prolific watchers of Splinter TV that we got. We got Imminent K. We got Kira. Jeff opens cards, Games World, and Onk 12C. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking out our shows. And there's your sweet little shout out on the town hall.
Nice. Thank you, Agrode. That was awesome. So listen, before we get into the clip of the week, I want to do something a little special. As this is the last town hall for the year, I kind of want to do like a bit of a year-end wrap-up of Splinterlands TV. So to start things off, I want to go off with a little bit of stats, right? We've got 15.125 years combined of time watched so far. We've got about 4,000 minutes that have been streamed. If you break that down, it's like 160 something days, like nonstop, right? And then we've got 2,500 followers, which there's been 618 subscriptions. That's people who are donating to help out the streamers. Throughout all that, we've had 20,188 unique viewers. That means 20,000 people have come and experienced Splinterlands TV since we've started. And we have reached a peak of 751 max viewers at one given time. And listen, I got to say, this year has exceeded my expectations. It has been absolutely incredible. We are now running at basically 24/7 now. We've got a wonderful team of over 60 streamers who are dedicated to bringing you guys content 24/7, 7 days a week. And I can't ask for a better team. These guys have been incredible. So I just want to say big shout out to all the streamers out there. Thank you guys so much for being part of this. Thanks for making this year an incredible year. And here's looking off to 2023 to even be a better year. But yeah, I guess so. That's about it for the stats and stuff. You want to get into a clip of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this clip of the week, I you know what? Sometimes at the very end of the show, you rush to get some stuff through and it turns out to be pretty incredible. And that's what this clip is.
Hey, we got 35 seconds before it all goes out. Oh no, will we do it? Dun 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 dun. It's a mythic, 2 mythics, 3 mythics. Oh, and a legendary. I accidentally clicked it. I clicked it. It's Valorant. Oh, I needed a Flagellian. I'm going to be able to 2-star him. Quick, before the stream ends. Open everything like a madman. Yeah, we did it, guys. We got there with Flagellon with 10 seconds to go. Flagellon. Yay. Going to get my Flagellon on tonight. Woo-woo. Till next time, this is the Psy signing out. Peace, my friends.
Well, there you guys go. There's silence or P silence, however you want to pronounce it. Doing a little bit of
silent.
The P is silent, but I like to pronounce it just to spite him sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, but silent. Nice job there. Thanks for doing that.
So yeah, that's the last clip of the week for the year, guys. Thank you guys so much for submitting your clips. Make sure, you can win 500 SPS just by submitting clips. And even the runners up get some SPS too. So keep on submitting those clips over there in the official Splinterlands TV Discord, which is separate from the official Splinterlands Discord, in the clip of the week channel.
Rock on. All right, let's go hop into questions for real now. I had them pulled up just a second ago. I wonder where I put them. I put them right here. Okay, so my town hall questions. So rewards, do bonuses and reductions stack, and are they factored at the same time? For example, if I have a 25% reduction for starter cards and a 25% nerf for card level rewards, but a 25% win streak and a 30% bonus for gold foil cards, would my earnings be 5% more than if there weren't any bonuses or reductions? I ask this because the math doesn't seem right for the reward points on some battles. That question is so specific. I need a dev and almost certainly Matt to answer that. So I'm going to punt on that. I know that the one would help you and one would hurt you. Those two things are happening in that same match, but I can't tell you in what order. I don't know the code well enough. This one's regulations. These are tricky questions. So does Splinterlands have any concerns around the new Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act? Damala, I guess is what they'll call that, targeting the cryptocurrency industry. Warren and Marshall's bill would direct the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, to treat crypto wallet service providers, miners, validators, and other network users as money service businesses, per Warren's statement, and thus require KYC for participants, along with a requirement for anti-money laundering programs. The bill would also impact unhosted or self-custody crypto wallets, requiring platforms and networks to identify such customers and track their transactions. So my take on this is that FTX gave a lot of money to a lot of politicians, and they were actually trying to get this through. I'm not entirely certain what their incentive was, but it would appear to me that they were working with Senator Warren, or as some people call her, Senator Karen, and trying to get this thing passed. And my take on this is that when FTX like imploded, that is not a failure of cryptocurrency. That is not a failure of KYC on miners and validators. That is a centralized provider that met all over the place with like Gary Gensler, who's the head of the SEC. Like this was not an accident that happened. This was like a well-known scam that our regulators knew about, did nothing about, and they had more intention of like poking at like library as some like, you know, small project trying to make a difference in the world. They would rather put the microscope on that and attack those guys than deal with the like, you know, twice the size of Enron giant catastrophe. And then after that catastrophe, their big idea is, well, it's really because we didn't KYC the miners. Like this is the most ludicrous crap. And maybe they'll push it through, and maybe they have enough blackmailed politicians to actually get this through. But my thought is that this entire regulation is a travesty of like First Amendment rights. And actually, I'm getting pretty good at doing some of this stuff. I mean, I might even have to go in there and like sue them personally if they start doing this, and do it under like a 42 USC 1983 lawsuit and say that they're invading our private rights to First Amendment, because this is like free speech, and there's no part of that free speech amendment that's like, well, if you want free speech, you got to KYC yourself. I don't know. I'm spitting more than what I probably should do in just a regular stream, but this kind of regulation is just total horse crap. And you know, I do have concerns about it, but honestly, I don't know how much legs this thing will have, because one, the source of money that was really pushing it just went up in smoke, and two, you know, them trying to say, hey, this is what we need to do because of FTX. It rings so hollow that anybody in this industry knows that it's total horse crap. So, you know, if it actually passes, I'll get it on my radar, but I'm not worried about it just yet. The second question is a follow-up. Would this impact Splinterlands node model and blockchain-based gaming in the U.S. jurisdiction only? Would this impact staking in Splinterlands and self-custody wallets on Hive Engine and Splinterlands? Would it be possible to segregate the USA game development from international ones in this scenario, create separate silos, or would Splinterlands be entirely tied to U.S. regulations and need to give up on decentralization? Yeah, I mean, we're going to be fighting governments, guys. Like that's just going to happen in crypto. That we want anonymity, and they want to inspect. They're like, hey, I don't know where $2.3 billion or $2.3 trillion of the Pentagon budget went, and hey, we can't track $100 billion that went to the Ukraine. It seems like a lot of people are like smuggling out millions of dollars in like suitcases, but we can't figure that out. But you know what we need to figure out? Your $600 Venmo transaction. Like it's the most unreal circumstance I can imagine. It's clown world. It's 100% clown world. So what would we do if the most nonsensical crap legislation happens? I don't know. We'll deal with it like we deal with everything else. And we'll have to figure out, you know, Splinterlands as a policy doesn't want to break the law, right? Like we have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we are compliant. So we would then have to look through every single loophole, every single piece of this to say, you know, how do we make sure that we are legally compliant? while resisting this sort of like tyranny to the best of our ability to do so. So it does give cause for concern. This is the worst legislation out there regarding crypto, and hopefully the fact that it's complete bullcrap related to the FTX collapse, and they're pinning it on like exactly the things that had nothing to do with it collapsing. We'll see if that passes or not. Game design. Is there a design philosophy within Splinterlands that rare cards are more powerful than more common ones, or does Splinterlands generally try to make max cards the same power levels across rarities? Example, in Magic the Gathering, rarer cards are used for more complex constructed power, and more common ones are used for more limited environments. With how powerful Archimist is, I've seen some in the community state they believe that rarer cards should be more powerful. I've always assumed more rare cards may be splashier, but that at max level for a given league, all cards across rarities should be relatively the same power level. So Matt and I have a spreadsheet, and in that spreadsheet, we basically gave every single card, pending on its level and its rarity, a number of points. And so a max level common and I think it's a max level legendary have the same number of points. What we ended up doing though is that we give a lot more like abilities typically to the monsters as they get higher and higher level. And one thing that plays into that, I know that people are like, wow, this bear is super powerful. Look at how many abilities it has. It's also 12 mana. So like if that was like a legendary, it would probably be like an 8 mana card or a 9 mana card, but it's a common. So you get a lot of those abilities because it's a big bad monster and it's a promo card, but it's also like a pretty damn expensive card from a mana cost. So yes, there's a spreadsheet. We don't try to do a lot of power creep. We have kind of common rules of how much abilities cost and how much stats cost, and that's how that works. Battle Pass.
Haggy, can I interject a quick
do the thing
hype? I realize that we're in the middle of the Archimist, the bear promo, and people who want the bear have got the bear. People who haven't got the bear feel like I still got a little bit of time. Just understand, like what Aggie just said, the bear card as a common card is an exception to the rule. Like it's a special promo card. It's like, as far as I'm aware, it might be the only named common card in existence. We really bent the rules close to breaking in terms of how we normally approach cards, promo cards, and this one specifically. So it really is a special card. I think that 2020 hindsight, when people look back after the promotion's already over and the dust is settled, and we look back and we say, wow, that was the first holiday Winterfest card. And they really went out of their way to make that different than any other card. They didn't sell it for $1,000 each. They did it differently. And based upon your guys' reception and based on how you guys look at that card and its success by the time the promotion is over, I think will help us to understand, hey, this was success. People like it. People want more of that. We should do things like that in the future, or at least half the time. So I encourage you guys, if you haven't got one of those bear cards, I know I did. I went shopping the other day trying to get me some bear cards. So I'm pretty excited about that card specifically.
All right. Battle Pass. How much DEC is the price of a Battle Pass? I think it can only be purchased for users who have KYC verification. Weirdbeard, you're kind of championing this. Do you see KYC verification being required? And then do you have a sense of what you think a season-long Battle Pass, and the Battle Pass season might be different than the gameplay season. How long would a Battle Pass be good for? How much DEC do you think it would cost? And would I need KYC?
I have no idea on pricing because, again, like that's to the bean counters who get to handle things like that. But I will say that I think that it has to be a very accessible price point, because you do the free version and then a premium version, and normally industry standard is anywhere from $10 to $20.
And how long is that good for?
It depends on the game that you're kind of looking at. Most TCG games, their seasons are around a month to 2 months. Only because it's not supposed to be like, oh my God, I gotta grind it right now, and it has to be done in 2 weeks, and it doesn't give you any time. And like, it's supposed to be kind of a more drawn out thing that like you slowly complete as you already are playing. Like if you are playing every day as a function of what's already happening, you're going to complete the game. And then people who play like 2 times a week, need to maybe go to 3 times a week to be able to complete it. But so there's a little bit more time. And as far as KYC goes, again, the purpose of the battle pass rewards isn't to have I mean, there might be some stuff in there that's monetizable, but the majority of it is like cosmetic and benefits to human players, things that people wouldn't just be like, oh, I need to trade and asset flip and look at the ROI on this. It's like music and wallpapers and skins and you know what I mean? Like just the general umbrella of cool stuff. So I don't think KYC would be totally necessary. And the reason why is because we shouldn't be stacking it full of ways to be asset flipped, I guess. And that's always like that's a Weirdbeard personal opinion, not a I know definitively that's the way that it's going to be done for the game. But
Yeah,
that would
there's a lot
there's
of spec work to do.
lots of mushy stuff in here. I'm excited and glad to see people asking questions because that means that they're passionate and also excited for it as well.
Yep. All right, next question, Dow. Where is the Dow's SBS located? It's in a Hive wallet, which is sbs.dao. Suggestions. And last time I checked, it had like 50 million SBS on it, and then a couple more million that were staked. Suggestion and feedback. Would you consider using the DAO to help prioritize what things to work on next? I mean, that's more or less what feedback.splinterlands.com is, but I don't know. We just went and did a lot of work to figure out what our priorities should be. And, we'll share that pretty soon. I don't know the exact time, but we'll share kind of what the board looks like, and you guys can get a sense of that and, tell us if you think that we're working on the right stuff or not.
I would also say that like that's going to be hopefully what Chatter and I are able to do, right? Like a DAO is like almost it feels like a binding contract type of a thing. Like this is what you have to work on. Whereas taking it to an informal working sessions where we have like community members come and talk about stuff is probably going to be more beneficial in the long term. Just so it doesn't feel like getting our arms twisted and being like this is what you have to do right now.
Yeah. What does it cost in dollars differential between a match coming from an API or from the browser in Splinterlands? Since some are defending closing off API to curb bots, so that this is relevant for that discussion. I don't know. We need a dev to be able to answer that, and I don't have one on the call. So we can move this question to next week. Can Splinterlands do something about unlimiting us human players so we can play more than 20 battles a day? Maybe for bots it's good, but for human players it is not good at all. I mean, you can just get another account and put a different nifty deck on it. That it doesn't cost you anything to have one of those nifty decks. So you can play as many times as you want. You're just limited with how many times you can play with those cards. And also you can play as many battles as you want. Your ECR goes down, but there's nothing that stops you from just playing a lot. Could we have bulk buy, group buy activities for Rift Watchers packs? That actually would require a DAO thing because Splinterlands doesn't own those packs, so I can't offer them for sale at a discount. I know the DAO controls the Rift Watchers packs, but how about providing Chaos Legion packs as bonus packs? That's actually doable. So I don't know. I don't know what that'll look like right at this moment. Will it be possible to burn account bound reward cards for DEC? I think once you max them, that became a possibility. Where is the skin market? I have jokes I'd like to make about that question, but ultimately that'll be in the non-card market. But we don't have skins in the game yet. We have some of the older ones, but the new version of skins don't exist yet. So
Would you like to see a skin?
Yes,
why don't you show us some? That's a good activity.
I'm gonna start off slow, and then as we get closer to the release of Soulbound reward cards, I think maybe but because I don't want to get crazy because we're not ready to release skins yet, even though we're gonna release the reward cards. All the reward cards have skins, just like I think all the Rift Watchers have skins. I think we have a lot of skins ready to go. So let me see what we got here. Let's do the Storm Giant. So this will give you an idea of, like, you know, the difference between the default and the new. And keep in mind, as discussed at Splinterfest, the idea wasn't to make the skins look dramatically different, because we want to still recognize these characters in battle, and we don't want to go so crazy that we have to redo all the rigging for animation. So we do want to stay within the overall scope of the silhouette of the character. If you noticed when I shared some of the concepts, it showed how they look, and it also showed their silhouettes. And sometimes we use that to kind of make some decisions on the design aspect of things, and also for purposes of animation and things like that. So keep that in mind. But I do see, even though we're launching with skins that are somewhat similar to the default appearance, I do see some opportunities along the way as we get closer to Rebellion to go ahead and make the skins more and more dramatically different than the original base character. But yeah, there you go. Here's a sample of skin.
Nice. Okay, that's my set of questions. We had one comment in there that, hey, Splinterlands, you guys are doing great. I have lots of faith in you guys. Can't wait for Splinterlands 2.0. So thanks for that little shout out. We have 18 minutes. I'm happy to go answer some questions. It's a small audience tonight. I don't know how many folks have questions, but feel free to put them in. We'll go through your list. Seems like some people had some prepped. And then if we get to the end of questions, we'll just call it done, because we're getting to the holiday time. We haven't heard about tower defense in a while. How's it going? Also, another person we haven't heard from in a while is Hardpoint. How's he doing? I missed the enthusiasm. Yeah, he took off this week, so he's just doing his life and doing his thing. There's a whole bunch of dev diaries that have gone out. So we haven't heard about tower defense on the town hall, but there's been lots of information being communicated about how tower defense is going in general. So there we go. Oh, Jarvie had a question. When will there be an incentive to survey beyond curiosity? Or how long until the first reason to survey? Different kind of survey to actually find the land, starting your upgrades or buildings or whatever we will do on there. You can't ask me when questions just yet. So let's make everybody's still working on finalizing their next couple sprints. So I don't know that we finished that today. I have I think on Wednesday of next week I'll have another call, and I'll get a sense of if the timings are finalized, and hopefully we can use that to start putting out some of our expectations of dates. So we're getting there. I know you guys want when this, when that. I should hopefully by like early January I'll have updated roadmaps and you guys can see what we're planning. Weirdbeard, tell us about the cool stuff when 2v2. Anything about 2v2?
No, not yet, because I mean, again, our big priorities are looking at Battle Pass and most likely looking at making improvements to the actual existing tournament system with the league locks and human only tournaments. But 2v2 and draft modes are the ones that people are really excited about. We heard Matt talk last week about a rule introducing it to where you have backup monsters, essentially the seventh monster on the team on the sidelines. And so I expect when we start working and talking about that, 2v2 will also come into the picture as well.
Okay. The idea of guild alliances was brought up in the previous town hall. Any concepts to present there? New guild building ideas or ideas about how the guilds within the alliance will interact with each other? They go for it if you have a good answer for this.
I do. So I mean, guild alliances are essentially, we have a pretty strong working structure for it. It's going to come down to alliances having anywhere between 1 and 10 guilds that are looking at being members, allowing them to come together, pool resources, be able to go in for extra bonuses, having some new building types that have some different, like rewards and incentives attached to them. So, we're working out still the actual leadership structure of how it's going to go down. But as far as the actual execution and ways that it's going to impact players and guilds themselves, we have a strong idea on that. We should be looking at a release for Q1 for that, hopefully. Yes.
Cool. About land, will we be able to attack our neighbors, or is it based on a quiet game like where we can enjoy playing in peace? So I think it'll have both. Your personal land, I don't think you'll be able to destroy your buildings on your land, but I think we'll have some communal spaces where you guys can go to town destroying each other. So so it's a mix, right? If you the main producing land, I don't think in your region it should be safe. In the PvP spaces, it should be death to everybody. Bitcoin Sig is asking question. The price of SBS may be continually going down because there's so much inflation and not enough for people to do other than sell it, stake it, or buy Riftwatcher packs. When is new functionality for SPS coming, such as player staking, so there is more utility for holding SPS other than selling it? So that's in the roadmap. They are working on getting that out, and then you're going to have to give me either until Wednesday or the Wednesday after that to get out kind of the newer roadmaps for where things will land. What does the team have in mind to encourage more assets to be held to earn rewards? The latest changes were a good start, but there's still many teams bots that are putting minimal ownership to earning rewards on higher levels than they should. Perhaps looking at only allowing the highest combined card be counted on the card and counting it once per card type to be counted for CP calculations. Yeah, we're gonna keep working on what is the right balance for that. I don't feel like I'm the expert. So this is a better question for when Matt or Hardpoint or some of the people that are really focused on the economy look at that. Key to the Gate says a Genesis node airdrop ratio for node holders been decided. No, it is not. Inspired by Schnegecko, how is tower defense development progressing? I'll try to get Hardpoint on to go talk about it. Maybe even some of those guys, and we'll see. We'll see what that looks like, but go read the diaries. They're out on Peak D, and you can go see what we're working on. Byzantinus is asking for Aggie Nate and whoever is on air and has land. Have you claimed your land yet? If so, where on the map are you? If not yet, then when do you plan to claim your land? I decided I wanted to be in the central area, so I'm waiting for that. Shop open. No. I need to get into the land. So I'm looking at somewhere in the 80s, 70 to 90 or something before I start opening. And I was looking at this today. We're at next available plot. Next available region is 43. So I got a little ways to go before I go. Nate or Weirdbeard, you guys have land. Where are you going to be?
Yeah, I the majority of my land I still have on hold as we work our way around the map. But when the land was first claimable, I couldn't resist. I was like, well, that's region number 1. I got to at least get one plot in region number 1. So I went ahead and clicked one. I claimed one in region number 1 just because, hey, it's number 1, right? I don't know what good just one plot is going to do me over there, but I had to do it. I think that as we worked our way around, I was like, oh, I want to be in the Broken Lands. I want some land there. And then, of course, we all saw what happened. Like Team Possible and a whole bunch of folks, Cryptomancer just went to town. They just real gobbled up all those regions. I was like, crap, dang. My kid, he loves the earth element. So he, I think, wanted to claim where that Anuman continent, those explorers had come into the Broken Lands and they were exploring. So he says for lore purposes, he would claim a little land there. So I claimed a few so I could be his neighbor. And then as we progressed down the map, we entered the what is it, Lands of Prosperity, which I'm shocked. Okay, first of all, let me tell all you guys, I am absolutely shocked that the number of claims died down at region 42, because I'm telling you, it's 42. It's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. How could you not want a plot in number 42? So of course I had to grab some from number 42, just out of principle. You can't call yourself a geek and not have a plot in freaking region 42. I think as the plots progress, I'm going to claim some more in Land of Prosperity, because crap dang, that's Mount Mox, that's Mox City. That's like, there is so much history. For those of you guys who don't know about the lore of the game, there's a lot of history and lore involved in that part of Praetoria, more so than probably the other parts of Praetoria, possibly. So I'm looking forward to kind of picking up some land as we go. So unlike Matt, who is what I call a clumper, wants all his plots together, I'm an anti-clumper. I'm gonna spread myself out a little bit, just for the fun of it. And that strategy might backfire on me for sure, but I don't know. I play games to have fun, man. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Weirdbeard.
I am landless. I'm a peasant. I'm going to be begging outside of your castle or keep, asking you to please let me in.
Nice. Nice. Quantum Nachos is asking, Genesis League Soccer or Genesis League Sports, Genesis League Goals, anything? It's been an info desert there for a bit. So same with any other question about like, what are we rolling out? What are we doing? We have a plan that team has met. They detailed all the epics. They've gone through it. So give us a week or two. So hopefully that's all we need to kind of.
So Chatter,
January
actually,
there is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say, yeah, January, there's actually going to be a town hall that's focused exactly on that. So early January is your time frame for when you get to hear more about what's going on with GLG and GLS.
Yeah.
Which is like the same thing. We've done a roadmap. We've done a lot of work. We have some sense of when things will happen, and we'll be able to go share that then. But it's the holidays, and give us a little bit, and we'll get it out. But basically all the work of figuring out what is going to happen is this last Monday and Tuesday. And now we need like a couple weeks to kind of like take all that work, turn it into pretty roadmaps, and be able to share that with what the plans are.
Here's what Chatter had to say. He said, town hall coming early Jan, working on a partner event with MLS and MLSPA to get some evergreen content made with the players and get them to do some promos with us. More gameplay and other GLG items to be talked about early January.
Yep. Stats for Immortalis, we don't have them, but yeah, it's 20 days away, so we should get that. Vax Power saying, no question. I hope you guys have a happy holiday. Same to you, sir. Merry Christmas from my family to yours, to the Splinterlands team, and may you have a wonderful solstice, happy end of year, a wonderful new year, and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all that. Yasik is asking, where is Hardpoint? Is he working on tower defense? Hardpoint initially was going to move to the product team, but now he's a developer on the validator stuff. So he continues to work with Double Coconut to go pull out the tower defense game. I've seen a couple different new animations come out, but he's working on validators. This week he's off, but he'll be back working on validators shortly. Fat Jimmy saying, thank you and happy holidays. You're the best, Jimmy. Thanks for doing that. T Krokchuk. I don't even know how to say that. Question. You guys talked about new reward cards soon. Is that referring to the new soulbound ones? The new ones are going to be soulbound, right, Nate? Or is
that's the plan?
Yeah. Okay. So Shadow saying, would it be possible to get a transaction history for taxes that can be automatically exported to major tax platforms? So there is a transaction history. You can go click buttons to get that. And that's what I've used to try to like prep an absolute crap load of tax stuff. So to get there, you would go to your account, click on your name, and then click currency activity. And then underneath that, you can download whatever you need. There's Excel files there. Question, can we implement delegation cooldown? Bots are exploiting this and humans don't use this super frequently. Seems like an easy loophole we can close. Matt has a whole thing around staking NFTs. I don't know where that got put on his roadmap. I need to catch up with Matt, but that what you're describing is somewhere of interest to us. Then Yashua the Highest is saying, question, since Nifty was a topic tonight, does Splinterlands have plans to introduce something similar that is native to Splinterland's website interface? Current rental market is heavily favored to the card owner, and the renter has very little rights, as it were. To say it's time consuming as a renter in the current system is an understatement. I think it's our hope to actually just directly link to Nifty. I'm not going to rebuild whatever Nifty's done. We got other things that we have to make, but it's my hope that with one click, you could get a whole deck from Nifty. Second, bots have absolutely infested the ecosystem, and many of the changes that we have made seem to benefit them more than real players. Example, even if I wait for 1 second left in the battle timer, bot can still produce a near perfect counter. Are there any plans to skew this back towards the players? Yeah, and we should probably allow Matt to kind of talk about that in their plan. Okay, when land on Salaki and Lunaki, unlikely that's coming next. So no more questions. That's what I got for you guys today. And I don't know. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Are we doing Town Hall next week, or did we cancel that one?
It's on the 26th. We're not doing it.
Yeah. So we're not doing Town Hall next week. So we'll see you back for the new year. I guess. Yeah. Are we doing it on the 2nd for?
That's actually a question I had for you. Do you want to do it on the 2nd? We'll do it on the 2nd.
Yeah, because everybody should be sober and fine by the 2nd. So let's go do it on the 2nd.
We're all
speak for yourself.
We're all sober, moral, prudent people.
Whatever. You make it into your 40s, and it's like, I don't know. My one of the last parties that we threw, my one of my oldest running friends, his dad got plowed and literally took himself out for a week to just recoup from that. So the older you get, in your early teens or 20s or whatever, when you're drinking, you can get up the next day and figure life out. But you try to do that stuff in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, and you get rocked. There's an old quote of, no matter how new age you get, old age is going to kick your ass. Definitely, that's how I feel about these things. All right, but anyways, I got to go. Everybody's got to go. Happy holidays. Have a great experience. Thanks for being part of the Splinterlands. Share this stuff far and wide, and we'll catch you in the new year. Thanks, everybody.
Chaos reigns and hope is lost. When your darkest days aren't saved by the dawn, we bring the light to help guide the way. We are with you. We are the Rift Watchers. Your enemies have spread far and wide. When you're out of places to run and hide, follow the runes. Help is on the way. We stand with you. We are the Rift Watchers.